everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the hands behind Lovecraft Crochet. My plushies are for the anxious, depressed, autistic, and neurodivergent. Small enough to travel in a purse, backpack, diaper bag, or even your pocket. You can check out my Facebook page or TikTok to see what patterns are available and stay tuned for the new ones coming out. I also make hats, scarves, blankets, and dice bags for the tabletop gamer or dice goblin in your life. Feel free to order through the page, TikTok DMs, or via email at love.craft.crochet@gmail.com. Now, on to the segment.
Due to the graphic and disturbing nature of the crimes discussed, listener discretion is advised.
Mellow greetings, friends. We have the finale. I have not decided to give them their own TED Talk.
You haven't decided if you're going to give a TED Talk.
Oh. I want to make that sound a little less weird then. Sam has no idea if I will do this because I did it on the Unabomber. How high were you when you wrote the first two sentences here?
We're not going to discuss that.
We are on the fifth and final section on the West Memphis 3. For a refresher, because clearly you're starting at the back and working your way forward, 3 young boys were murdered, 3 teens were charged, tried, convicted, and sentenced. Those are the basic facts. There's a lot of bullshit that happened, though. This episode, we will be discussing how the 3, now adults, were finally given freedom. Oh, so does that mean Damien wasn't killed?
Correct.
Oh, that's cool. That's at least a plus. So, long story short, it was a railroaded, stupid-ass trial. And everyone was innocent by the end. We'll find out how they were innocent. You could actually tell they were innocent. Mostly from Sam's very prejudicial writing.
You know what? I don't think I've never been so upset while reading. Because I'm like, wait, I can't find reasonable doubt anywhere in this. So how are you supposed to, I find reasonable doubt all throughout it.
Right.
So how are you supposed to do it without reasonable doubt and still say those kids need to be in jail?
Or one of them killed.
The only one that was over 18.
Oh, of course. Again, we've talked heavily that we aren't opposed to execution.
No.
However, there should always be not even a reasonable doubt for
the reason he still ended up being alive is because of appeals.
Well, I assume so. Because it is really fucking, Anyways, let's talk about this, and then we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Their attorneys had filed multiple appeals. The first one started immediately after the sentencing. Good for them. By December of 1996, the conviction was upheld for all 3. Also in 1996, HBO aired a documentary called Paradise Lost: The Child Murders at Robin Hood Hills. The film, with a soundtrack by Metallica. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Neat.
I've actually seen it. It's
Did
really
they
good.
actually... Did they do the soundtrack, or did they just license their music for it?
I don't know, actually.
Was this a Queen scenario, or was this Guardians of the Galaxy kind of a thing?
I think... I don't know. I never thought about it. I never looked.
Fair enough. Anyways, the film, with a soundtrack by Metallica, depicted West Memphis as a hellhole with residents blinded by fantasies of satanic cults, and jurors unable to sort facts out rationally. That is also how Sam painted. I'm sorry, I have to point out that because I don't know the actual facts of the case, I only read what you write.
Right,
and we have covered worse fucking crimes than this. We have covered worse breaches of judicial thing, but this is the first time.
I find this one, out of all of the ones we've done, the miscarriage of justice goes from the start when they find the bodies. Well, actually, before that, because if they had called the search off, they wouldn't have. If they had called the search off at night, then they came back. They would have been able to find more evidence because they were within feet of where the bodies were at night.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So I would have, from where I start all the way up to the end,
Right.
even with how they got out, I disagree with it. But we'll discuss that.
We'll discuss. The film started a movement, first with a website. Remember back when people would make websites and they meant something?
I know.
Laurie Davis would become friends with Damien after falling down a rabbit hole with the case. In December of 1999, the two would wed in a Buddhist ceremony in maximum security prison. In March of 2000, a second film was released, Paradise Lost 2, Revelations. Jesus Christ. I will say the namings, though. Granted, this was 90s HBO. And again, back when documentaries meant something.
Yeah, back when HBO had good shit on.
Well, I personally like their movies that After Dark. Because I was a child, and I got to see boobies and bush, because everyone knows that the razor wasn't invented until 2003.
Wow. All right, read.
Which suggested the real killer of the boys was John Marks Byers. The Paradise Lost sequel was followed 2 years later with an extensive analysis of the case by Mara Leverett on her book Devil's Knot: The True Crimes of the West Memphis 3. Leverett, actually, I would like to read Devil's Knot. I'm actually quite interested in this.
I haven't read
I know it's going to piss me off reading it, because it pissed me off while I was reading what you wrote, but usually what you write pisses me off.
Yes, but I don't, you get usually pissed off at the writing itself, not what I'm actually writing about.
That's fair.
Okay? You're just as pissed off as I am about what I'm writing.
That's fair. Leverett also agreed with filmmakers that there was a grave miscarriage of justice. In 2003, Vicky Hutchinson, who had testified about attending an SBOT with Jesse and Damien, told a report... was she the one who was like... the
play detective.
The play detective who was like, yeah, I went with them and we went to a witch's orgy.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Jesus, fuck. Anyways, she told a reporter for the Arkansas... I'm just going to start the fucking paragraph over again. In 2003, Vicky Hutchinson, who had testified about attending an SBOT, which, if you recall, that would be a witch's orgy.
Yep.
With Jesse and Damien, told a reporter for the Arkansas police... I said Arkansas again.
You did.
That everything she had told a reporter for the Arkansas police? Are you sure it's called the Arkansas police? Told a reporter for the Arkansas police that everything she had told the police a decade earlier was a lie.
It has to be right, because I took the... Let me see the paper. Because I copied from Arkansas police till the period.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Anyways,
sorry.
Thank you for saying that you copied and pasted, though.
I usually change everything up.
She reported that she felt compelled to cooperate with police out of fear that if she didn't, the police would take her son away.
Remember Aaron?
Oh, right. In 2007, a huge piece of evidence was tested for any DNA left behind by the killers. None was found to match the DNA of Jesse, Damien, or Jason. A hair found in a knot used to tie up one of the victims however, was found to be not inconsistent with Terry Hobbs, stepfather to Stevie Branch, which was one of the victims. The new DNA evidence failed to convince Judge Burnett that a new trial for any of the West Memphis Threes was justified. Well, no shit. But attorneys for all three appealed Burnett's decision to the Arkansas Supreme Court. What an asshole! I think you would have wanted to put the what an asshole over with the Judge Burnett said no.
Yeah, probably.
Not the they brought their appeal to the Supreme Court.
You're right.
And then they said yes. I assume they said yes.
Just keep reading.
On November 4th, 2010, the gods smiled down on the three men. The Arkansas Supreme Court said the circuit judge must consider not only the DNA evidence presented by the defense, but any other exculpatory evidence, including evidence not presented in the original trials. So every piece of evidence, pretty much?
Basically, what they're saying is that you can't just decide based on what you know and what you haven't been allowed into evidence. You have to actually look at the bigger picture, not just on the, there's
We
DNA.
want these guys to be guilty, so fuck everything else.
Basically, that's what it feels like.
And then he doesn't want to overturn his own ruling because a lot of judges, let me rephrase, many judges that we've covered in the past, I would like to quantify, I don't believe all judges.
Back to this.
Just gonna fucking...
I gotta remove all that.
On March 17th, 2011, the circuit judge David Laser of Jonesboro scheduled a new trial for the men for October 1st, 2011. On August 19th, 2011, in a rarely used plea arrangement known as an Alford plea. Do you know why it's called an Alford plea?
I do, because of the state, because there was North Carolina versus Alfred, basically saying that... Alfred. Basically saying that you can say, I'm not guilty, but the state has enough evidence to convict me.
Okay.
So what it basically is that it's like no contest.
Okay.
But this one is different on the fact that it's usually more...
It's kind of explained in context of the next sentence, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Baldwin, Eccles, and Miskelly pled guilty to the murders while still maintaining their innocence. Judge Laser released them with time served and suspended 10-year sentence. An Alford plea deal of guilty is made when the defendant maintains his innocence. The Alford plea is sometimes used in plea bargaining, as it allows the accused person to enter a plea recognizing that the prosecution's evidence would likely result in a conviction, even while maintaining he did not commit the crime. Okay, so that's sort of the, to really make it into a non-issue. Say that you're plea bargaining of, say your taillight was out, so I'm not going to give you a speeding ticket.
Right.
Or, something along those lines where it's like, this allowed the accused to accept a plea bargain for a lesser sentence than he would receive if convicted for trial. Hey, you were actually correct. North Carolina v. Alford
400
was a case in which the Supreme Court of the United States, 400 U.S. 25, 1970, affirmed that there are no constitutional barriers in place to prevent a judge from accepting a plea deal from a defendant who wants to plead guilty, while still protesting his innocence under duress as a detainee status. This type of plea deal has become known as an Alford plea. Sam could not find out why the men chose to. The end.
Well, when I wrote that, I hadn't found it. Here's what I understand why they took it. If all three didn't accept it, all three wasn't going to get out.
Okay.
But Jesse had the hardest time in jail.
Well, yeah,
Damien was the holdout because he swears he
swears he's innocent. He does not want to be on, because especially since he's the one who's literally going to die because of this.
Right.
He doesn't want to go to his deathbed, arguably. You know what I mean? You don't want that
for that reason.
Yeah.
So
if he turns around and goes, yes, I'm going to plead guilty for this,
but
then something happens.
Damien literally did it to make sure that now they're friends.
So anyways, that's how they got out.
That is how they got out.
And that's where your script officially ends because you didn't finish it.
That is officially where I end because I couldn't go.
And nothing else happened after that.
Damien released the book.
I assumed. I'm actually shocked that not all three of them did.
Damien's into productions and documentaries and things like that.
Oh, cool. Should tag him in. I'm kidding. I've
tagged the all three of them every time we do when I put it through the tags.
Cool.
When I write hashtags, I include them.
Oh, hashtags. I thought you were adding them directly. Sorry. That's okay. Hashtags are fine. But anyways, now we're a little bit under 50, or a little bit at 15 minutes now. Do we want to just make this? Because I think we can wrap this up in 5 to 10 minutes of us talking about it.
We can do that.
That way we don't really have a need for a bonus episode. Because honestly, again, I want to read The Devil's Knot. I want to read because I'm actually quite interested. I know it'll piss me off, but while we were talking, I think I realized something. I want to say it was last episode. I think the reason that it pisses you off, actually no, it was at the very beginning of this episode. We're recording 4 and 5 back to back. Do you suppose the reason that it pisses you off so much is not necessarily how much they lampooned justice to put these kids behind bars, but because, especially with like when we were talking about Damien last episode, where, you know, he had some weird shit in his room. But it wasn't weird in a, you know, it wasn't, hey, it was his neighbor's dog's skull.
No.
It was probably a wild dog. They're in Arkansas.
There's, you know, animals die all the time. And if he's out in the sticks all the time, he's going to find something.
I mean, when we kept going up to Aunt Betty's, we would find deer skulls all the fucking time.
All the time. I picked one up for the last time we went up before Aunt Betty died. I picked up one for Ryan.
Exactly. It's not that weird. Like,
I think because
and
we've
maybe
also
that's
gone...
exactly it. Is we know Ryan.
There's that too.
I say this with love. I love Ryan,
but we know Ryan.
But it is one of those things where it is like, you know, and
we went through the high end, the peak of goth phase.
Well, and that's sort of it too. It's like mid to late 90s, early 2000s. Black stopped being a unique clothing choice. You know what I mean?
No.
Even where, you know, we moved from North Carolina up here to the middle of fuck all New York.
It really is the middle of the state. Just want you to know, it really is the middle of the state, people.
So, you know, I don't want to compare directly to Arkansas and everything like that, but it is the sticks and sticks thing. It's,
yeah.
You know, I knew Wiccans growing up. I'm not including you or Mom, you know, when you guys went through your Wiccan phase. But there is something because, and this is going to be a weird side tangent, sort of. There is a very holistic nature theming to your life in the sticks.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Some people make that turn into Wicca. Other people have it where it becomes the nature around them becomes an extension of Jesus,
right?
Of their Abrahamic God. Other people, like, I'm really cool. It was really cool to see that he got married in a Buddhist ceremony. Me, I became a Buddhist. I'm a bad Buddhist, but I became Buddhist because I never could get into Wicca. I'm sorry. But,
well, as I pointed out to somebody, I'm like, AJ's Buddhist with a Wiccan flair. Because you do follow nature.
I do, but I also know that nature's a bastard. But that's because I have fucking allergies. I can't back nature when nature tries to shut my body down twice a year.
Yeah.
But anyways, so when we're going through the thing where it's like, oh well, he was wearing black and he had knives. Motherfucker, that was everyone I grew up with. That was me. And I didn't kill kids.
No, we didn't.
Well,
anyways.
I am your father, and I love you. So, anyways, the point is...
He impugned my honor. I couldn't remember what the word was. I couldn't figure out... I'm like, what's the word? You got it? You have it in... You pictured it? He did what? He impugned my honor.
Sam, you're cutting this part out. Stop.
You're no fun. Anyway,
fine,
yeah.
You can keep this part in. I don't care. Anyway, you're the editor. Anyways, but I think that might actually be where it's... Because we've seen miscarriages of justice very similar to this in previous cases we've covered, and even just in passing.
Yeah.
We live in a world right now that is nothing but the rape of our judicial system.
This is true, but this is what...
But that's why I think it feels closer to home for you. It may be a subconscious thing, or it might just be nothing.
Well...
But that's where I see you...
I knew about the miscarriage of justice beforehand.
Right, everyone did, apparently. I just never heard of the damn thing.
I watch a lot of shows, okay?
I know. You proved that when you knew this fucking case really fucking fast.
I did. You're not gonna get this. The Devil's Knot. Is it about the West Memphis 3? How the fuck did you do that?
I believe I called them the Westminster Three.
You did say Westminster 3 the first time. I'm like, you mean the West Memphis 3? And you looked at me like, he really did. He did ask how the fuck I knew that one.
Once we get the studio space actually cleaned and looking pretty, we will start doing the video versions of these. I think it'll be fun because you will also see that when me and Sam argue and fight, you know, when I sound a lot harsher than my face is conveying.
His face and voice never matches up. It's okay. Anyway, but
how dare you?
Wow, why did you just totally look like what is his name? Wilson. Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson? The dude from Police Academy and Spaceballs.
Winslow.
Wilson Winslow. Hey.
I think. Michael Winslow?
Michael Winslow. I know it's Michael.
Okay. Anyways,
Sorry.
Point is.
Sorry, when you did that, all I saw was that.
But that's where I think, you know, you knew the case going in, but then you did get more upset. The more you saw that it wasn't just that they were going after an average, you know, this wasn't, you know, Joey Jockstrap.
Right.
This was the other kids.
So you're thinking I got upset?
I think it's very plausible. I'm not saying it is, but I think
you're thinking it's because of the fact that I'm another is what's causing the issue.
Not necessarily just that you're another, but again, you know, we know Ryan.
This is true.
But it's one of those. It's not just that you were another. It's not like you were a nerdy kid. I mean, yes, you were nerdy, but you hung out with the people who wore black and had knives all the time. You know, you were part of the Wicca thing.
Yeah.
You know, you were part of the New Age movement of the 90s and 2000s. You know what I mean? It was one of those things where it's not necessarily just that it was, oh man, they went after an other. It was a matter of, oh man, though at least how you wrote it, you know, these come off like, and if you wrote it this way, then this is where I think I'm getting it, and I'm sorry about going full psychology here.
Okay.
But that it sounds almost like you would have hung out, or at least been in a very similar circle.
Yeah, we would have hung out with them.
That's sort of what I...
And that could probably be what my issue is that I could see, you know, I could see them in our group of friends.
Yeah.
And that might be what it is, because to me, my biggest has always been the miscarriage of justice from point A all the way down.
Right.
So from police, you know, the police all the way up to everything. The fact that you still allowed Burnett to rule on a past case of his.
Right.
I
always hate when...
after he's already been, you know, the appeals have gone through 3 different times for him. To him, yeah, there's an issue.
Right. No, I totally agree.
So that, you know, I think it's more my what's right.
Right.
I think it's my righteousness. No. What's the word I want?
Your sense of justice.
Thank you.
Your chivalry. Your white knighting, if you will. But no, I think righteousness is actually a good word for it, because it's not a righteousness isn't a divine righteousness.
Right.
You know, it's not, let's burn a cross, I'm right. It is the sense of righteousness, or the sense of justice, or, you know, lack thereof, that I think a lot of people, especially our age, do feel. Because, well, let's be clear, most of us, while we weren't the latchkey kids of the Gen X, I mean, we were still very latchkey kids, and we were still very much raised on, this is right, this is wrong. We were raised on it where, you know, people were like, hey, our age, and this is me stretching, and I know, our age range, we got to see, not necessarily on a pop culture level, but on an actual level, how much the system failed, and fails, and continues to fail.
Well, you gotta think. I can think of 4 major cases in the 90s.
Right.
OJ, Rodney King, Bill Clinton. Oh crap, what's the 4th?
Menendez brothers.
That might be it.
But that's sort of what I mean, is where, because of the sensationalism that I did kind of bring up in our Satanic Panic, where it really did start in the 80s, I want to say, where suddenly you could now have ads for your, you now had these designated systems where, okay, it isn't about, let's report the news, done.
No,
it
the
is
24-hour news
how
cycle.
do we sensationalize it?
Yeah, the 24-hour news cycle fucked this country up.
I want to say it was, 98, that thanks to UK sensationalism, Andrew Wakefield, and the rise of vaccines cause autism happened. Most people still still remember the sensational reporting on. There's a study, this was proven. It wasn't even actually a study. It was a hypothesis to get a study that a fucking pharmaceutical company that wanted their own measles or mumps, I can't remember, it was one of the M ones, because they didn't like that MMR was actually cutting into their profits. Because now instead of 3 separate vaccines for measles, mumps, and rubella,
somebody figured out how to make them all one.
So now instead of $100 a shot, now you got one for 20. So they're like, we need to fucking stop people using the MMR. They didn't realize that it would be an all or nothing scenario. Like, literally, it's really fascinating to watch the anti-vax movement of today, starting with, no, we just didn't want you guys to take the MMR one. We just wanted you to take the individuals. But because, suddenly it became, oh, we're just not going to take any. Well, that's why measles is fucking back.
Same with mumps.
And polio. God damn
I never thought I'd see the day where polio would happen in the U.S. and not by somebody who came from
a third world. Let's be real here. Vaccines are not bad, people. In a vacuum. We can go into, maybe that'll be a different mything episode where we just actually talk about the myths of anti-vax movement. But again, I know you are terrified of politics.
It's not terrified. I don't want to alienate any of our friends. And if they're taking the time to listen to us, they shouldn't have to listen about politics. Because to them, it should be a break from reality for a moment.
We cover, in Killing 15 Minutes, we just spent 5 parts expressing the very political message that the system is broken.
Yeah.
I really wish we had Vin, because the look of Sam's face. And Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Hey, did you know that Patrick Star lives under a rock?
Yeah.
So he has no fucking clue what's going on because he lives under a rock.
He's also a fucking Dauber from Coach, I think. I think it was Dauber.
Boomer.
Boomer?
He was Boomer.
I don't think it's Boomer.
I'm 90% sure it's Boomer. Go
I
ahead and look it up.
I can't. Oh, there it is. Anyways, keep vamping while I do this.
So, I honestly think the miscarriage of justice technically is not political.
Okay.
On the chance, because you got judges that can be, swing either way, but they're consistently swinging a specific way. Not like a judge who, willy-nilly goes back and forth depending on color. To me, that's political.
Boom.
Is it?
It's Dauber.
It's Dauber. Okay. I thought it was Boomer. Who is Boomer then?
The dog from Independence Day. Anyways, back to the topic at hand.
You're right.
Okay. I don't think... I disagree with you. I think that it was very political. That the judge needed, this horrendous act happened.
Yes.
Okay. Now, instead of going and doing the justice thing of, where's the evidence? What do we do? How do we find the killer?
Right.
It became, man, those kids are fucking weird. How do we make it them?
I can see what you're saying, yeah.
On the judge level, that's what I see. We need to close the case. These fucks are fucking weird. I'm not saying that I'm not actually saying the word. I'm saying that.
No, I get what you're saying.
Because there were other. It's sort of like in.
It's that us versus them thing in the eyes of West Memphis and wherever Judge Burnett was from, saw anybody who is them as a problem, not the us. They're them.
It's the similar vein of I'm not going to bring race into it. That would be too easy. And also slightly different. But more like all the signs that were up, and still kind of up in some places, you can't wear a hoodie. Like anyone with a hoodie, one person with a backpack, stuff like that, where it's like, because of this small thing, you know what I mean? I understand why, they would be like, no hoodies in my store. I get that. But at the same time, it's very much a specious sort of thing.
No, and I get what you're saying.
When I used to steal from stores, I never wore a fucking hoodie. In fact, I still don't like hoodies.
No,
I do like the zip ups.
I like the zip ups. I like the zip ups more than the over the head, but it has to be a hoodie. It cannot be just a regular sweatshirt. I don't like how they sit on my neck. I have to have a hoodie.
That's fair. But anyways, that's sort of what I mean, where it's like, on a political end, I see that. For the jurors, however, and obviously for the lawyers, it is, I want to have a win. So they're going to do whatever they can in their power because their job, and this is going to bring up a slightly different thing. Maybe this might be you might have to you want me to do a quick take of me going, hey, this is a bonus episode?
No, I'll give you 4 more minutes.
Okay. So, I never begrudge lawyers doing their job. It's actually why I hate when people were like, when Hillary was a defense attorney, or, a prosecuting attorney, she did this. Well, yes, that was her job at the time. Or, she defended this person. Well, yes, that was her job. I will never begrudge. I do think there are shisty things that happen because of that.
Yes. I'm
not saying that they are,
Not all lawyers are scumbags.
True. But again, I do want to say I don't begrudge them immediately just because of their job. No. Just like I would not immediately begrudge a cop because of their job. However, there are things that a lawyer can do that are scummy. There are things that a cop can do that is scummy. It's not #ACAB, but
there's a small group there's a small percentage of every group that is bad.
Yeah.
It may be because...
But then we get into the ethic. I shouldn't have brought up the ACAB or the police thing, because then you get into the idea that, well, if you are partnered with one of the bad apples and you do not call him out, then you too are a bad apple, which is very true. But at the same time, you can then turn around and go, yes, but that cop did not want to go through the harassment that happens when you try and be a good cop.
Yep.
The death that can happen when you try and be a good cop. That's its own can of worms. But anyways, point is the lawyers are being lawyers. The judge is being prejudicial. The lawyers are being lawyers about it. Shitty lawyers, possibly, but lawyers notwithstanding. The jurors, I think, are being normal, scared folks about it.
Yes.
And that's what I hate when reading this more, is that while I hate the fact that innocent people were locked up, there are people who would blame the jurors.
Yes.
But if you've done your voir dire, you've done your I can't even remember what jury selection's called.
That's also called voir dire.
But and so you've already been the good lawyer you're supposed to be. You got all the women on the trial or on the jury panel because you want them to be as emotional as possible, and it's gonna be emotional, and it's going to turn into, well, I just described you exactly in detail what happened to these boys. They're the ones that did it. So your brain is automatically going to be like, fuck them, and then someone else turns around and goes, well, they could not, it's possible they didn't do it. His mom said that he was home. You know what I mean? Well, of course she would say that.
It's his son.
Yeah. So it turns into this. It pisses me off because it's one of those perfect storm scenarios of everything is bullshit and reality sucks.
True.
You know what I mean? And I hate coming to that conclusion because, again, 3 innocent people were railroaded into this solely because they could have been a little eccentric. They
Well,
could have had
just-
orgies in the woods. Guess what? If they want to have orgies in the woods and everyone there is consenting, let them fuck. Well, I've had orgies in the woods. Don't look at me like that. You knew who you signed up to have a podcast with.
I know. And we are way too close for these conversations. Anyways, I agree with the entire thing, what you are saying. I can see where politics can be used in the legal system. I actually blame the jurors for falling for it. On the fact that you did have, on all three, so in total, let's see, 3 of them, let's say they had 2 lawyers apiece, 6 of them, the 6 lawyers. They all said the same thing. There's no way they could do it. Here's the evidence. Why? Here's what happened. Here's the cause. We have proof that Damien was on the phone at this time.
Right.
We have proof that Jason was at home at this time. They were able to, put enough reasonable doubt out there. So I have an issue with the jurors not seeing reasonable doubt. They went with this they had to have because somebody needs to pay for this.
Well, and
that's where it was.
And I agree with you. But that's also where I don't, you know what I mean? It is one of those things. It's sort of like, I know I keep using examples to try and or explain how I feel. But it's like people falling for when redheads say it's the...
No, try again.
Sorry. Or when people fall for illegals are on Snap.
Pick another target.
Hey, number 9, bite me. Okay, we're done.
All right. If you want us to go further into this, let us know at Carry On Productions on Facebook or at Carry On Prod on Twitter. You can email us at carryonprod@gmail.com, or you can harass me personally at... Yeah, no, I'm not giving that out. Good job. Anyways, or you can hit me up on Killing 15 Minutes
Sam, you use your real name.
gmail.com. Yeah, but I'm not giving out my personal Gmail.
Oh, your personal Gmail? Oh. My personal Gmail is @SamRossi. Sorry.
You know what the funny thing is that none of my emails
I know.
I have just Rossi
I
in
know.
it.
That's why I use that as the joke. You see?
You
I
see,
didn't really give you the information.
The best one, though, is my Yahoo account.
Why is that?
Because it bounces off of our mother's ex-husband's tag, where he was a scary cop. I was scary kid.
Okay, cool. Anywho, point is, yes, please, if you want to hear more about this, I actually really still like the concept of us doing a book club, either to follow up with cases or just to have, because I really liked, what was it? I told you to read this book, and we even talked about it. The Peter's.
Oh yes, Peter. What's the hell is his name about the
serial killer boom
and yeah, because of the silent no.
If you go back 100 episodes, you'll know what book I'm talking about.
I think I still have my copy in the car.
You do, but anyways, I would love us to do a book club where it is, us like reading The Devil's Knot, and not one of those Omegaverse nodding books, but.
Try that clean.
No.
Our aunt still listens to this, and our Aunt Lou should not have to listen to your sick, perverted mind.
Sam, they are best-selling books. That's what's terrifying.
Porn books should not be bestsellers. Just saying, guys. And if we're going to make them bestsellers, make them better.
Sam, one of the best-selling books of the 21st century is 50 Shades of Bullshit.
Oh my God! If you
did you forget about that?
If you want to read anything about S&M and bondage,
okay,
read
now
Terasumi.
And just remember, I only made a generic joke based off of a thing because I listened to a Lindsay Ellis video on how she got sued by the author. I use air quotes there, and owner, air quotes, heavy air quotes, of the concept of alpha male werewolf books. I'll send you a link to the video. It's phenomenal. It's hilarious because
My head hurt because I don't see how that is a copyrightable thing.
it's not. Anyways, I'm AJ Carey.
I'm Sam Rossi.
Let's see how much Sam actually keeps in at the end of this.
All right, we're at 40:37. Later, y'all.
Why must you yell so much?
Why must you be a dork?
Keep on carrying on.
C-A-R-E-Y. Because
Carry On Production.